On Corey Johnson back at you. Yeah, you right. Thanks for joining us on a wide open Wednesday edition of the program. Got a good one lined up for you on this wide open Wednesday. Besides our Humane May fundraiser going on right now, trying to raise $10,000 in the month of May for cats and dogs and kittens and puppies. Please donate. HumaneLA.org is the website, HumaneLA.org. Please donate and donate generously. Let's hit that goal of $10,000. Our Humane May fundraiser going on right now. Jazz Fest weekend number 2. Tomorrow at this time, it will be going on right now. Locals Thursday, essentially half-price tickets. Tickets are $95 at the door, $85 in advance. Locals Thursday, tomorrow only. 7 days of Jazz Fest. This applies to tomorrow only. $50. Just need that Louisiana driver's license. $50 for Locals Thursday. Then, of course, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, weekend number 2 of Jazz Fest. 14 stages, 600 bands over 7 days, 5,000 musicians, 60 food vendors, couple of hundred craft vendors. Jazz Festival 2023 over at the fairgrounds in Gentilly. More stone falling from the Plaza Tower. We don't have mountains. We have skyscrapers, and every now and then I guess there's an avalanche. More stone falling from the Plaza Tower, the old 1001 Howard building, that long abandoned building that had about $10-12 million of remediation, including asbestos remediation. Like $10 or $12 million. The building is scrubbed. It's ready to go, and there are no takers. Joe Yeager still owns that building, claims he's already invested $1 million in that netting at the top of the building meant to catch any falling stone. The marble-ish looking facade to that building very well may be marble. Who knows? Anyway, the glue, I guess after 60 plus years, is starting to fade. Whatever is holding it on. Plaza Tower, essentially South Rampart between Julia and Howard, shut down. One side of South Rampart between Julia and Howard shut down by the Plaza Tower. Street closure. The mayor is exploring demolition options. I mean, I guess I don't know why you'd publicly say it. There's so many hurdles with historic landmark and national designation, architecturally significant, on and on and on. I don't even know why you'd broach that publicly, but the mayor did. The mayor mentioned potentially demolition, but also kind of understands that it's a long shot. No, you just got to find the right developer with the right idea that really can work the tax incentives and grants and low interest loans and all kind of, programs that are available, milking, maxing out as many as possible. I remember I bought a kitchen, the whole kitchen, the stove, the oven, the microwave, the stainless steel refrigerator, dishwasher. I forget what the price was, but there was like, $400 back from Whirlpool. And that deal, you only could do that deal. It worked with no other deals. And then there was another deal. There was like $500 American Express gift card, and will work with any other deals. So I remember buying these appliances and getting the $400 back and the $500 gift card. Like, getting both things. Not double dipping, not breaking the rules. One, it only was good by itself. The other one, it didn't matter if there were other deals incorporated with it. So the by itself one I did first, and then the one that didn't matter I did second, and both went through and got like $900 back on those appliances. So I got both things. A developer, a builder is going to have to get like both things. The $400 from Whirlpool and the $500 American Express card for buying the 5-piece appliance set. No, they're going to have to get every tax credit, tax break, tax incentive. They're going to have to get grants. They're going to have to get the quickest, best way for them to potentially make money in that building, the way it sits, how it's designed, the square footage available, what can be kept, what has to be abandoned, on and on and on and on. The biggest hurdle that, from what I understand about that building, besides that it's old, it is a weird shape or configuration, like a cross-shaped type of building, elevators in the middle, whatever. There is a certain percentage on just about any building built, especially today, like common areas, hallways, lobby areas, bathrooms, public areas, the non-rented space. And from what I understand, this building has a larger percentage of that than normal, like it's abnormal. I don't know what the percentage of space is supposed to be for hallways and lobbies and elevator areas and stairwells and stuff for the average, Class A office building or condo tower. But if you want to just pretend it's 12%, this building, it's 18% of that. So you lose X amount of square footage. That means the square footage price with already these limitations that you have to deal with. Lower ceilings, exposed electrical or HC heat, whatever, AC heat, whatever. However you have to do it. More of an industrial look. I have no idea. But there are limitations coupled with that. So no, you need someone special that can really work it and line everything up, and it's sort of the perfect storm type of thing. Apparently, that's all I can guess. The building's been sitting there for 20 years. There's been about 2 or 3, maybe 4 folks trying to redevelop it. It's changed hands multiple times. Folks have invested millions of dollars into that building. Different groups have each invested millions of dollars into that building. One group north of 10, 12 million bucks. No traction yet. World Trade Center, in New Orleans politics plus real life. It took like 20 plus years for that thing to turn into the Four Seasons, like 20 plus years, literally. Plaza Tower, kind of a similar building. Because I'm Vappy, Fox 8 report, Lee Zurich, Officer Vappy, security detail removed from the mayor's security detail because of those Fox 8 reports, reassigned to the Orleans Parish Communications District, the 911 folks. No timesheets, no idea of what, if any, hours he worked, what he did for OPCD. It's sort of unknown. Yet he clocked in for 8-hour and 35-minute shifts every day. Raphael Goyeneche, Metropolitan Crime Commission, will join us to discuss that. Ruth's Chris Steakhouse, really hadn't been a New Orleans-based company since Katrina. Almost 20 years Orlando-based. The Darden Restaurant Group, Olive Garden, Longhorn Steakhouse, Capitol Grill, some others. The Darden Restaurant Group, the Olive Garden folks, buying Ruth's Chris Steakhouse for $715 million. 154 worldwide locations. Roughly half of those are corporate owned, half of those are franchises, roughly. Corey Johnson with you. Wide Open Wednesday. Rafael Goyeneche next. Every day we broadcast live from the Buddy Diliberto River Cities Total Maintenance Studios. River Cities Total Maintenance. Honest air conditioning experts. That means they know what they're doing. They diagnose it correctly right away. And they come right away. They fix it immediately. Honest air conditioning experts that come immediately. NOLAAC.com. NOLAAC.com. Corey Johnson with you. Wide Open Wednesday.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
Being a part of people's lives, from an engagement ring to a wedding band. Before you know it, the wedding day is here and groom and bride are exchanging gifts on that day. And not too long after that, there's baby gifts to have. And I just enjoy being part of other people's family, saying, Mr. Friend did my engagement ring and he did my mom and dad's engagement ring. My name is Ken Friend of Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day, by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
Did you know Rouse's sells only Angus beef? Angus beef's natural marbling means more succulence and flavor. Whether you choose Rouse's USDA Prime, Choice, or Select, it'll be only Angus beef when you get it at Rouse's. Tastes like home.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
Fausto's Italian Bistro on Vets has daily lunch specials Monday through Friday, and their entire lunch menu is available too. Open 11 a.m. through 2:30 p.m. For the finest in Sicilian and Italian cuisine, Fausto's Italian Bistro on Vets.
Ooh, Leidenheimer, that's what I said. Ooh, Leidenheimer, that's French for bread. Leidenheimer.
5 generations, family owned and operated. Leidenheimer French bread.
River Cities Total Maintenance keeps you cool, New Orleans. NOLAAC.com is your cool spot. From the owners of Katie's in Mid-City and Bienvenue in Harahan, an old school deli with over a dozen specialty sandwiches. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview between Canal Boulevard and West End. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria.
Young's Dry Cleaning has free pickup and delivery. That's right. Young's Dry Cleaning has absolutely free pickup and delivery. Home or office, East Bank or West Bank. Call Young's at 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes, a magazine as unique as you.
Ford F-150, #1 seller in America. What about in the USA? Let's see, what about in the world? Who sells more trucks than Ford? Nobody. It's because the Lamarque team is the real team. All that makes it happen is one goal. Everybody having a great experience at Lamarque Ford. We became #1 for a reason, because we're good. And we need to prove it every day, every deal, all of the time.
Which Metro New Orleans area restaurant made CNN's top 50 in America and ThrillList.com's top 25 and has served presidents at the White House for over 40 years? Trey Yen in Mandeville.
Mother's Day is a week from Sunday. A week from this Sunday, Mother's Day 2023. I'm not kidding you. There's no excuses. Oh, Jazz Fest was there. The Zurich Classic was a few weeks before. Mother's Day, a week from this Sunday. Friend and Company Fine Jewelers has exactly what you want and literally exactly in your price range. They have some items at Friend and Company Fine Jewelers, literally tens of thousands of dollars. Some items that are thousands of dollars. And then Ken Friend at Friend and Company Fine Jewelers on Maple Street has a room where everything is under $1,000. And at Friend and Company Fine Jewelers, that room where everything's $1,000, or if you're spending thousands or even tens of thousands of dollars, it's always real natural diamonds. 1 billion years old, not 3 weeks old, not man-made, not lab-created, but real natural diamonds. Friend and Company Fine Jewelers on Maple Street in between Broadway and Carrollton. A week from Sunday, Mother's Day, Friend and Company Fine Jewelers on Maple Street in between Broadway and Carrollton. Corey Johnson with you on a wide open Wednesday edition of the program. Our Humane May fundraiser goes on all month, trying to raise $10,000 for cats and dogs, kittens and puppies. Our Humane May fundraiser, trying to raise $10,000 for the Humane Society of Louisiana. You can donate right now online, humanela.org, humanela.org. Another Fox 8 report, Lee Zurich, great work, Officer Vappy. When he was let go from the mayor's security detail, he ends up over with the OPCD, the Orleans Parish Communications District, the 911 folks reassigned there. So much going on with this story. All the while trying to get back on the mayor's security detail, then going somewhere else. It's confusing. Raphael Goyeneche's been keeping up with this and a whole lot more. He joins us, Raphael Goyeneche with the Metropolitan Crime Commission. How you doing, Raphael?
I'm fine, Corey. How are you?
Doing well. Hey, let's do this now instead of at the end. How can folks get in touch with you at the Metropolitan Crime Commission? How can they get these email blasts? How can they get in touch with you guys if they think they have some information on something going on that they feel is unsavory?
Well, they can do it either by calling us at the office, 504-524-3148, or they can go online to our website, and you can provide anonymous tips if you choose via our website on a secure server. And if you want to access some of the reports that we've just issued a number of reports, including taking a look at the arrest to conviction record of the district attorney's office during the first quarter of this year. The most recent crime trends report. And last week we issued a report about crime for the first quarter of the year on a district by district level. So if you want to go online and take a look at our reports, you can actually look up your neighborhood and see the types of crimes that have been committed block by block. And that's something that you don't find too many places. That's on our website right now. So it's a lot of information and content there. And our website is metrocrime.org. All one word, metrocrime.org.
Metrocrime.org. Raphael Goyeneche's with us. Hey, before we get into Vappy and all of this, generally speaking, how are crime trends, violent crime trends going?
Well, they're down slightly this year versus last year, but you have to take into consideration that last year was the highest rate of violent crime we've had in over 30 years. So I'm grateful that it's down. I think the police department is doing yeoman's work. We have fewer officers today at this point in time this year than we did at the same time last year, and crime was higher last year. But we shouldn't really be declaring victory based on the fact that crime is down slightly this year versus last year, because if we take a look at 2021's rate, we're up about 38% for homicides. If we go back and compare it with 2019, we're up over 130%. So you can see where we were, and that information is on our website. You can pretty much see that crime has gone up as arrests have gone down, and arrests have gone down as the numbers of police officers have gone down. So there's a real cause and effect between what has occurred in this city. Our mayor allowed the police department to basically dwindle away to the lowest staffing levels that we've had in over 80 years. And as a result of that, crime is up at historically high levels. So that our crime problem is really a reflection of poor leadership and poor decisions that were made by the mayor of the city of New Orleans.
It's the full 5 years of LaToya Cantrell's administration, but also I think it's safe to say, Raphael, you could go back 4, 5, 6 years into Mitch Landrieu's administration potentially, right?
Yeah, the difference was that Mitch basically froze police hiring, but he reversed it soon as he started to see that the crime rate was going up and the numbers of officers were going down. And they were able to fix it pretty rapidly. And that was the, culmination of some of the lowest crime rates that we've seen in this city in over 30 years during the first year of LaToya Cantrell's administration. So 2019 was the low water mark as far as violent crime in the city. That's because the force had been rebuilt to about 1,250, 1,275 officers. As we speak today, there's a little over 900. The city may dispute that number because they count recruits that are in the academy and other people that are out on sick and furlough. But the reality is we've got about 900 officers for the entire city of New Orleans. We're still losing more officers than we're hiring. So the fact that crime is down slightly in all of the violent crime categories is really, I think, a testament to the good work that the police department is doing to reduce crime, even though the numbers of officers are at an all-time historic low.
Raphael Goyeneche is with us from the Metropolitan Crime Commission. It's this mayor's inaction, coupled with crime surging in cities across the country, coupled with coronavirus crisis. Is that fair?
Well, I mean, it's really disingenuous to say that it's Corona and it's every city, because New Orleans last year had the most homicides on a per capita basis than any other city. So the coronavirus is no worse here than it was anywhere else. It was really, I believe, the mayor ignoring the early warning signs. So in 2020, when we started issuing weekly crime trends reports, we started to document an alarming increase in crime. And at that time, there was we were losing more officers than we were hiring. And I noticed that we were seeing history repeat itself. It happened under Mitch Landrieu. He imposed a hiring freeze. Essentially, the mayor stopped hiring officers.
Crazy.
And the numbers started to decline, and they've accelerated in each of the last 3 years. Now, with the raises, there's a great sense of urgency, but the only reason the mayor initiated the raises late last year that went into effect this year is because the public demanded it. And I'd like to think that the public being more cognizant of the crime situation, the weekly reports that we put out, media's efforts to expose all of this, created an upswell in the public that demanded something be done, and the mayor finally relented and has responded to what was obvious back in 2020, but it's going to be, a longer, harder fix because it was ignored for 3 years.
Look no further than the NOLA coalition.
Yep.
That's your public's response, I think.
Well, sure. I mean, and that coalition came together in a very short period of time. In a matter of months, it went from maybe 24 groups to over, as we speak now, over 500 organizations.
Yep.
And then, that are supporting it.
Yep.
Public safety is the foundation of prosperity in this community and every community.
Raphael Goyeneche is with us from the Metropolitan Crime Commission. You said metrocrime.org?
Yes, metrocrime.org.
That's the website, and that's where you can report stuff. We're going to take a quick break, Raphael. We're going to come right back. A few more questions for you. More with Raphael Goyeneche next. For Leidenheimer Baking Company, producing the perfect French bread is more than a vocation. It's a sacred mission. And for 5 generations, they've used the same time-honored process, baking their signature loaf with its crisp crust and delicate center, unique and still good to the last crumb. From the finest French Quarter restaurants to your local po' boy shop, for over 125 years, New Orleans' own Leidenheimer.
For us, it's really relationships. And if you care about the relationship, you're going to do the right thing for the customer all the time. When we're in design process of a custom-made piece, I have a test that says, if I wouldn't give this to my wife, I think we should pass and start over. If it's not perfect, it's going back to the shop. We're going to start all the way over. My name is Ken Friend of Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business.
There's a Middle Eastern restaurant that's less than 5 minutes from where Causeway and River Road meet, Lebanon's Cafe. Convenient to Old Metairie and Old Jefferson. Carrollton at Jeanette on the streetcar line, Lebanon's Cafe.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NolaAC.com, your cool spot. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NolaAC.com, your cool spot.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralox, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralox technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralox is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
In New Orleans, we don't eat to live. We live to eat.
More is better.
Scott Craig of Katie's.
That is our slogan. More is better at Katie's. It means more of everything. Not just more food, more smiles, more friendship, more love. More. When you do something, you have to do it right. It's all about more, and it's all more of the good things.
Get more at Katie's Restaurant in Mid-City.
The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center, it's open now. We fix cars and trucks. We do all makes and models. And it doesn't have to be a Ford or a Lincoln. It could be whatever you're driving. 32,000 square feet under roof. Now open at 3101 Williams Boulevard. It's all about you, the customer, getting the most for your dollar. I would say the most perfect collision center anywhere. The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center, 3101 Williams Boulevard. Go check it out.
Greater New Orleans, a destination for learning. With 13 colleges and universities and a booming job market, Greater New Orleans is the ultimate destination for your higher education. Your path to the future begins in Greater New Orleans. Find out more at studynola.com.
At Home Paint and Decorating, our paints are in it for the long haul. In fact, our Top Benchmark exterior paints come with a lifetime warranty. Not 25 years, not 50 years, we mean forever. You heard right. At Helm Paint, our top exterior paints have a lifetime warranty against chipping, peeling, and flaking. They also are mildew resistant. Imagine painting your home one time and being done with it. Visit any one of our locations today and make that once-in-a-lifetime purchase. Paint that has a lifetime warranty. Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore. Let us steer you in the right direction.
It's crawfish season, and your neighborhood Rouse's is your crawfish headquarters, literally. Live by the sack. Bring them home, boil them yourself. Rouse's Markets has live by the sack crawfish. Hot from the pot, ready to eat. Rouse's has guys boiling crawfish all day long at each and every Rouse's. Hot from the pot, ready to eat. Rouse's has your crawfish. Best quality, best price, best selection. Tastes like home. Rouse's Markets during crawfish season. Raphael Goyenetchi's with us. metrocrime.org. Raphael, you mentioned the DA's arrest to conviction ratio, I guess. Has that been on the uptick in a good way?
Well, the good news is they're accepting more cases than what they did the year before. So when the police make an arrest, they submit a police report to the district attorney's office, and the DA assesses it to determine if there's sufficient evidence to go forward. So the district attorney's office is accepting about 61% of all of the felony cases that are presented to them by the police department, which is a significant increase over what their acceptance rate was last year. The problem is that as they accept those cases and those cases proceed through the courts and they're ultimately closed, you're looking at an abysmal conviction rate. So the objective is not just to arrest somebody or charge somebody, but to convict somebody. So if the district attorney's office reviews the evidence and accepts the charges, they're basically saying there's sufficient evidence to convict that individual of the offense that they charge him with. Yet we have documented that there have been 343 violent felony cases that have closed this year as of April the 15th, and 55% of all of the violent felony cases that closed were closed either by a dismissal or a reduction to a misdemeanor. Only 7% of the violent felony cases that closed were guilty as charged. So if the DA's office is touting the fact that they're accepting more cases, they haven't really talked about their conviction rate. And when you start to pull back the curtain and take a look at what people are charged with and what they're ultimately convicted of, it's an indication that there's something wrong with that office, either in their screening division or in their trials division.
And you're saying 7%, like 1 in 14 or something like that?
7%. 25 of the 343 violent felony cases that have closed as of April the 15th were guilty as charged. You had 100 that were dismissed, and you had another 123 that were reduced from a violent felony to a misdemeanor. and then another 93 that were reduced to a lesser felony. So that is, I've never seen numbers this bad, for a prosecutor's office. And I've been doing this for a couple of minutes now,
Yeah, no, I know that. A few minutes. Yeah. Leon Cannizzaro, do you remember his numbers roughly, generally speaking?
I don't have that information in front of me. We do have that. If you want to look at it, it's going to be on our website. We'll have that information, but I can't recall. It was much higher than that.
Yeah, that's just
it was much higher than that.
7% seems insane. Hey, the crime trends district by district. What do you learn there? I mean, right off the bat, it seems like you find out where the violent crime is. That's where a lot of folks are going to be wondering. After that, Raphael, there are just so many different angles. One might be, are there any areas where we're below the national average, like we have some really safe neighborhoods, or not at all?
No, there are. So really, as bad as the crime rate is, when you look at the maps to see where and I'm talking right now about the violent crime, but we have it broken down by property offenses too. But just with respect to violent crime, you have almost 60% of the violent crime concentrated in 3 of the 8 police districts. And furthermore, within those 3 districts, the crime isn't equally distributed, among the boundaries of each of those 3 districts. It's concentrated in neighborhoods, in pockets. So that allows the police department to identify the hot spots and apply their diminished resources to attempt to impact violent crime. But when you have an incident like what happened at Mendina's, or the incident that occurred a week ago Tuesday, where the woman was in her car with her 1-year-old baby in the back seat. And somebody walked up and gunned her down in front of her baby, or opened fire on the employee of Mendina's and injured a patron in the restaurant. That is something that is very, very difficult, if not impossible, for the police department to prevent. The only thing that they can do is solve those cases. That's why it's so important for the district attorney's office to do their job. Because usually the people that are pulling the triggers, shooting people and killing people, they have prior criminal histories. And if this district attorney is refusing, dismissing, and plea bargaining down to misdemeanors, violent felony offenses, then that means that those offenders go back out on the streets, and then they continue to prey upon the public. And every unsolved shooting, every unsolved homicide, every unsolved armed robbery means that those offenders are out on the streets. And if they are solved and they are arrested and the victims and witnesses cooperate, only to have those cases dismissed or reduced to misdemeanors, they go back and tell their friends, family, and neighbors, don't waste your time cooperating with law enforcement because the system doesn't work. So that's why it's so critically important for the DA's office to work hand in glove with the police department and support their efforts. When you have on Mardi Gras Day where Emily Ma, the head of the Civil Rights Division, goes into magistrate court and refuses 15 gun cases without the benefit of police report, without looking at the body cam footage.
That's just a whacked agenda.
So the police department had a press conference before Mardi Gras saying that they were going to do gun enforcement, and the DA's office supported it, only to have one of the highest ranking officials in the district attorney's office go into a first appearance bail hearing before a report is even presented to them and refuse the charges. The feds have subsequently charged one of those individuals with possession of a fully automated machine gun, that she refused the charge, saying, if you leave your gun here and go back to Chattanooga, I'm going to refuse the charges. And the defendant's reply we had the transcript is, "Thank you, ma'am. I appreciate that."
Wow. Raphael, how's the police chief search going? Is it kind of the pump is prime, contract signed, some money given to this search group? They've got until July to come up with this short list.
It's a 17-week process. We're about 6 weeks into it. So last week was the development of the profile of what the chief is. The IECP was here, conducted some forums, did meetings to get feedback and input from the locals about what are the qualities and what the priorities are for the police department.
Yep.
Now they're going to go back and create a recruiting brochure and go out and start to beat the bushes and see how many people apply. And then after a few weeks of recruitment, they'll take the group of applicants and do background checks on them and rate them and get it down to a list of semifinalists. Those semifinalists will be brought into the city for some interviews. And then the list will be reduced down to the group of finalists, and it'll be presented to the mayor, and then the mayor selects hopefully the most qualified person that's among the finalists. And then that nominee from the mayor has to be vetted and approved and confirmed by the city council. So that's a 17-week process, and we're about 7 weeks into the process right now.
Yep. And Raphael, unlike in the past, there's no more anointed by the mayor. Like you said, the council will have to minimum a 4-3 vote approving the nomination.
Exactly. So, we're spending, top dollar to engage one of the leading police recruitment and hiring organizations in the United States. And they do a very thorough job. And I'd like to think that we're going to get some very qualified people. The objective is not just to hire the best local person, but the best possible person. The mayor has demonstrated that was her philosophy with her hiring the head of the Sewage and Water Board.
Yep.
And hiring her chief financial officer.
Best Montano, best available. Yeah. Hey, Raphael, I want to finish up with that and ask you about VAPI. Can you hang on one sec?
Yeah, go ahead.
Perfect. Raphael Goyeneche's with us, metrocrime.org.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
Rouse's Market is hiring. With 65 stores, full or part-time employment, and flexible scheduling, Rouse's has a job for you, or maybe even a career. Apply at any Rouse's store or online at rouses.com.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
Fausto's Italian Bistro on Veterans Boulevard, where the brothers Fausto and Roland are serving some of the city's finest Sicilian and Italian cuisine. From New Orleans' first family of Sicilian and Italian cooking, Fausto's Italian Bistro on Vets.
At Helm Paint, we go the extra mile with free delivery anywhere in the metro area. In the middle of a job and short on paint? Call us and we'll come to you.
Short on time? Call in your order and pick it up in the drive-thru at our Earhart Boulevard location.
Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore. Let us steer you in the right direction.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralox, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralox technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralox is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
It's time to relax. The Woodhouse Day Spa, Metro New Orleans' premier day spa experience, now with 5 area locations. For a day of relaxation or maybe just a quick 1-hour getaway, the metro area's premier day spa experience is at the Woodhouse Day Spa, and now 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and our newest location in Mandeville. The Woodhouse Day Spa, woodhousespas.com.
Being a part of people's lives, from an engagement ring to a wedding band. Before you know it, the wedding day is here and groom and bride are exchanging gifts on that day. And not too long after that, there's baby gifts to have. And I just enjoy being part of other people's family, saying, Mr. Friend did my engagement ring and he did my mom and dad's engagement ring. My name is Ken Friend of Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business.
If you love Katie's Restaurant in Mid-City, you're going to love Bienvenue in Harahan. The same folks bringing a little of that New Orleans flavor to Hickory Avenue. If you love Katie's, come to Bienvenue on Hickory Avenue in Harahan. Greater New Orleans, a destination for learning. With 13 colleges and universities and a booming job market, Greater New Orleans is the ultimate destination for your higher education. Your path to the future begins in Greater New Orleans. Find out more at studynola.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, in this Lamarck Automotive Complex is something called Quick Lane. Tires, wheel alignments, struts, servicing your transmission. We're doing all makes and models. It doesn't have to have been purchased from us. It's for you. It handles your lifestyle with your budget in mind. And we want to get you in and out as quick as possible. Quick Lane, you got to come see it. You're going to love the experience right there at Williams Boulevard in Kenner.
Ooh, Leidenheimer, that's what I said. Ooh, Leidenheimer, that's French for bread. Leidenheimer.
For over 120 years, New Orleans' very own Leidenheimer French bread.
Corey Johnson back with you on a wide open Wednesday. Raphael Goyenechi's with us from the Metropolitan Crime Commission. Hey, Raphael, finishing up with the police chief search. What was the salary, like 180, and they want to make it like 380 or something? And did they get there to make this job more in line with what police chiefs in major markets get compensated?
Yes, I'm under the impression that the New Orleans City Council has approved the salary that would make it much more competitive than what it is right now. So if you're going to, pick a head of one of the largest agencies, if not the largest agency in the city of New Orleans,
yep.
We paid the head of the Sewage and Water Board over $300,000 a year, I believe. The head of the airport, comparable salary, and there really isn't anything more important than public safety and the police department, as well as its massive budget. So they're going to make an upgrade with a salary, hopefully, to attract more qualified applicants. So we'll see how that works out.
And will there be full transparency, like at the end of the day, Woodfork, for instance, being on the list or not being on the list? Will we know that? Will we know if the mayor puts her on the list, if she wasn't, if this group doesn't put her on the list? Does the group feel there's pressure, you believe, to put her on the list? I mean, they have to be discussing like that's the hometown favorite or that type of thing.
So the International Association Chiefs of Police, the most valuable thing that they possess is their reputation. And they would not have accepted this engagement if this was just a show. So they're known for their professionalism, their thoroughness. And if they're going to put their reputation on the line, they're not going to do it for the city of New Orleans, which may end up coming back and undermining their credibility in the United States. So the fact that they've accepted this engagement, they're going to conduct it in the same manner that they have for every other city that has engaged them to do it. There's a contract that's executed, and it was a contract that the IACP demanded to protect the sanctity of the job that they're being engaged to do. So it remains to be seen. Michelle Woodfork may be the most qualified person.
Right.
But we're only going to know that if we do a national search. And the mayor initially said that it was an insult to say that we needed to do a national search to hire the next police chief. But she didn't have that same philosophy when it came to hiring the head of the Sewage and Water Board, or the Aviation Board, or Gilbert Montano, or Chief Executive Officer. So IACP will do their job. Remains to be seen who's on the list. But I believe that the list of finalists, at the very least, will be public. So we'll get to see who made the cut. And, we'll see who the mayor nominates and who the city council confirms.
Hey, Raphael, before we let you go, really the main reason we're getting on the program, a breaking story the last day or so. Fox 8, Lee Zurich, more on Officer Vappy. First off, just a strange reassignment to the Orleans Parish Communications District, the 911 folks. Talk about that for a second. But maybe what's bigger than that, the work at the Orleans Parish Communications District. We know he worked 8.5+ hour days, time shifts, but no timesheets, no idea of what, if any, work was done. A lot of vagueness on why the Orleans Parish Communications District for reassignment, and did he do any work there while there?
Well, we don't know the answer to that. The Fox 8 attempted to get those records, and they were told that no such records exist. The Inspector General did a report recently involving the Orleans Communications District, attempting to obtain records from them that the head of the Communications District said that he didn't have to produce those records. He actually went to court, made the Inspector General's office spend $50,000 litigating it, which meant that the Communications District hired attorneys to litigate, and the city taxpayers paid the bill for both organizations. Ultimately, he had to release those documents. So it's very peculiar, and his reassignment did not occur under Michelle Woodfork. The reason that he was under investigation from PIB was allegations that he was charging the city for work that he didn't perform.
Yep.
So essentially, they were looking into payroll fraud. So to reassign him to an organization that didn't track his
work hours,
his work hours, is a problem. And the reason that he was removed from there was because Michelle Woodfork, when she was sworn in the first day, reassigned him to a desk in asset forfeitures in the police department, took him back from that assignment. So that's where, as far as I know, he is right now. But the reason he's no longer at the Communications District is because the interim superintendent didn't think that that was an appropriate assignment, and she moved him back to a desk where they can document his comings and goings while the investigation is underway.
Hey, Raphael, a pleasure, man. Thank you so much for joining us. Metrocrime.org, right?
That's it. Thank you, Corey.
Thanks,
Anytime.
Raphael. That's Raphael Goyeneche, Metropolitan Crime Commission. Corey Johnson with you. Wide open Wednesday edition of the program. That's Blue Boy barking up a storm. What's that, buddy? 5 o'clock power hour is next on this wide open Wednesday. You're right on the money. Stick around, New Orleans and beyond. Corey Johnson with you. Neutral Ground.
You're on the Neutral Ground with Corey Johnson on TV on Cox Channel 4 and Spectrum Channel 333. Also on YouTube, on radio at NOLA Talk 93.9 FM, WSLA New Orleans.
Hi, it's Ken Friend from Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business. Come see us over on Maple Street in Uptown.
Friend & Company Fine Jewelers Breitling time, 5 p.m.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralocks, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
From the owners of Katie's in Mid-City and Bienvenue in Harahan, an old school deli with over a dozen specialty sandwiches. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview between Canal Boulevard and West End. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day. By river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NOLAAC.com, your cool spot. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NOLAAC.com, your cool spot.
Ooh, Leidenheimer, that's what I said. Ooh, Leidenheimer, that's French for bread. Leidenheimer.
The French bread of the city of New Orleans. Good to the last crumb. Leidenheimer French bread.
Hi, this is Joey Helm. My dad, Bunky Helm, had a vision of a locally family-owned store serving the residential and commercial paint needs of New Orleans. I think Dad would be proud of today's Helm Paint and Decorating, and here's why. We have the best technical staff in the business, providing the best color matching service in Southeast Louisiana. Perfect matching for any color and any brand. And we'll save your colors so you don't have to save those old cans. Helm Paint offers free 2-hour delivery. Our in-store decorators will assist you on deciding what color and type of paint to best showcase your home. But most importantly, as your local independent Benjamin Moore dealer, our products provide the greatest value in the paint industry. Superior coverage, and Benjamin Moore paint simply covers better and lasts longer. New Orleans is a city of vibrant color, and no one else provides the paints of New Orleans like Helm Paint and Decorating. Visit any of our 6 locations or online at helmpaint.com.
Helm Paint, let us do you right. Helm Paint and Supply.
Hi, everyone. It's Tommy Wrong for AsbestosMoneyGrab.com. This is not, I repeat, not for folks with real asbestos problems. But if you're like me and were maybe taking a shop class in high school where you maybe breathed in some brake dust and you know for certain you're fine, but you're the type of person that takes advantage of these types of situations, get tested, lawyer up, and steal some money like me. Go to I'm not really hurt at all, but like exploiting the system for free cash.com.
The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center, it's open now. We fix cars and trucks. We do all makes and models. And it doesn't have to be a Ford or a Lincoln. It could be whatever you're driving. 32,000 square feet under roof. Now open at 3101 Williams Boulevard. It's all about you, the customer, getting the most for your dollar. I would say the most perfect collision center anywhere. The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center, 3101 Williams Boulevard. Go check it out.
Young's Dry Cleaning, with 2 walk-up locations with personal service. Young's on Claiborne and Young's on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview. Young's Dry Cleaning. Call 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
being a part of people's lives from an engagement ring to a wedding band. Before you know it, the wedding day is here and groom and bride are exchanging gifts on that day. And not too long after that, there's baby gifts to have. And I just enjoy being part of other people's families saying, Mr. Friend did my engagement ring and he did my mom and dad's engagement ring. My name is Ken Friend of Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business.
Rouse's, New Orleans grocery store. Rouse's has the only full-service grocery stores both in the French Quarter on Royal Street and in the CBD on Baronne in the old Sewell Cadillac building. The Rouse's on the river, Tchoupitoulas at Napoleon, is in a century-old warehouse. And uptown on Ferret at the corner of Valence is Rouse's all-new boutique store. With 7 locations in Orleans Parish, Rouse's is New Orleans grocery store. Rouse's Markets. Taste like home.
Just sit right back and you'll hear a tale of a fateful trip that started from this tropic port aboard this time.
It's kind of traumatic as a child actually watching this program when you're like 4, 5, 6, 7. Like, geez, it beats. Stuck on some island. It's got to suck. That was kind of traumatic. The weather getting rough. Anyway, plus the skipper and Gilligan. Yikes. Probably not the best folks to get on a boat with. Yeah, you right. Corey Johnson back at you. Wide Open Wednesday edition of the program. Thanks so much for joining us on this Wide Open Wednesday, where our Humane May fundraiser continues all month long, the month of May. We're trying to raise $10,000 with your help, the listening, viewing audience, donating at humanela.org. humanela.org. We need to raise like $330 a day for the entire month of May, and we'll hit our goal of $10,000 for cats and dogs and kittens and puppies and goats and horses, animals that are suffering, animals that are struggling, emaciated, neglected, abused. No, Jeff Dorson and his crew come in there and scoop up these animals and save their lives. Hundreds of animals a year, thousands of animals a year. They're nonstop. Go to Facebook, Humane Society of Louisiana. They're constantly updating that. They tell a little story. They've got photos. They show you what they're doing. Humane Society of Louisiana. If you want to report animal cruelty, 888-6-HUMANE. 888-6-HUMANE. Don't be scared to turn your neighbor in. They're abusing their animal. 888-6-HUMANE. Yeah, and the website to donate to our fundraiser, Humane May, where we're trying to raise $10,000 for the Humane Society of Louisiana. Go to their website, humanela.org. humanela.org. 100% of your donations go to the Humane Society of Louisiana, 100%. humanela.org. Please go there right now and donate generously. humanela.org. Wide Open Wednesday. You know, Mother's Day is a week from this Sunday. Mother's Day is a week from this Sunday. I'll make it short and sweet. A day of relaxation at one of the 5 area Woodhouse Day Spas, the city's premier day spa experience. That would be a good start, guys. Get her a full-blown day of relaxation. Exactly what she wants on this Mother's Day, a week from this Sunday. 5 area Woodhouse Day Spa locations, Mid-City, New Orleans. That's Canal Street, right off Carrollton. They're in Metairie near North Kenner, Transcontinental West Esplanade. They're on the North Shore with 2 locations, Slidell, a minute off of I-10 and Gauze, and in Mandeville, East Causeway Approach, about 90 seconds off the causeway, right across the street from the Mandeville City Hall.
And they're in Baton Rouge by the Mall of Louisiana. WoodhouseSpas.com to book your own appointment. WoodhouseSpas.com. A day of relaxation for her. A week from this Sunday, Mother's Day. Exactly what she wants. The Woodhouse Day Spa. Don't forget about Friend and Company Fine Jewelers either. Real diamonds, natural diamonds. So many diamond stores with these man-made 3-week-old lab-created diamonds. You do not want this stuff. Depreciates in value. They're flooding the market with it. Get diamonds that appreciate in value. Limited quantity. Real, natural, billion-year-old diamonds. Friend and Company Fine Jewelers on Maple Street in between Broadway and Carrollton. Yeah, Mother's Day, a week from this Sunday. Jazz Fest weekend number 2. Locals Thursday, mañana. Gates open in what, about 18 hours? 11 a.m. tomorrow morning. 11 a.m. tomorrow morning. And tomorrow is supposed to be like today. What a beautiful gift. Locals Thursday, where tickets are half price for locals. Louisiana driver's license, just about half price, $50 instead of $95 at the gate and $85 in advance. So $50. And then the weather tomorrow is supposed to be fantastic, like today. Sunny, almost cloudless blue sky. Temperatures probably creeping into the low 80s like today, but insanely low humidity today, like 35%. So feels cooler than the temperature. Feels like mid to high 70s. No, the low humidity is so key. Tomorrow is supposed to be kind of a duplication of today, a great locals Thursday where tickets are $50 instead of $95 or $85. 14 stages, 600 bands, 600, 5,000 plus musicians, 60 plus food vendors. Jazz Fest 2023. Weekend number 2 starts back up tomorrow. Or the 2023 Jazz Fest starts back up tomorrow with weekend number 2, Locals Thursday. Hey, 10 years ago, can you believe it? I think tomorrow will mark the 10-year anniversary of the tolls being removed from the Crescent City connection. Mike Teachworth was instrumental in that. He'll join us on the program tomorrow. Mike Teachworth, his friend and attorney, Pat Hand, and now state senator, was then a state rep, Pat Connick from the West Bank. Those 3 were instrumental, huge. We were on top of that. I remember folks literally calling in the program saying, I'm at the toll booth. They have a sheet of paper with a handwritten note saying no toll, drive through, no toll. Literally went down like 4:25 in the afternoon. Historic. You had a lot of politicians talking about the bridges going into disrepair, the lights going out, on and on and on and on. No, the brunt of those tolls were paid by Gretna folks coming and going from the East Bank to West Bank. Just not right, unfair. Now, everyone paid it. I mean, that's one fair thing about tolls or taxes, gas tax, whatever. The people using the roads pay it. People that use it more often pay more. But it was, past its prime, overdue to not exist. Just there for the politicians to dole out the cash, and they were used to it. No, and Mike Teachworth and his attorney friend, Pat Hand, and politician Pat Connick got those tolls removed. Mike Teachworth will join us on the program tomorrow to discuss that. 10 years ago, those tolls, unnecessary tolls, removed from the Crescent City connection. Hey, Lebanon's Cafe, outdoor dining at Lebanon's Cafe. Carrollton at Jeanette by the streetcar barn, under the green awning, under the oak trees on the streetcar line. Carrollton's one lane in each direction down there. That's in between Claiborne's and the River Bend. Lebanon's Cafe, some of the finest Middle Eastern food. Get the chicken shawarma with the tabbouleh, fried football kibbe. Lebanon's Cafe, Carrollton at Jeanette, open till 9:30. Outdoor dining. Enjoy the weather. Enjoy the fine Middle Eastern cuisine. Lebanon's Cafe. Yeah, you, right. Corey Johnson with you. Speaking of food, Ruth's Chris Steakhouse, Orlando based for like nearly 20 years since Katrina. 18 years ago, bailed on New Orleans quickly after the storm. Sold today, or it'll close in about a month. The deal's done. The Darden Restaurant Group, they own the Olive Garden and Longhorn Steakhouse and Capitol Grill and a handful of other restaurants. Ruth's Chris Steakhouse originated here in New Orleans on Broad Street. Ruth Fertel, late 60s. The legend, the late, great Ruth Fertel, building that empire. 154 worldwide locations. They did over 500 million in business. Ruth's Chris Steakhouse, now sold to the Darden Group, under the Darden Group umbrella. Olive Garden, Longhorn Steakhouse, Capitol Grill, and the like. Corey Johnson with ya.
Rouse's Market is hiring. With 65 stores, full or part-time employment, and flexible scheduling, Rouse's has a job for you, or maybe even a career. Apply at any Rouse's store or online at rouses.com.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
For over 20 years, serving healthy, fresh, authentic Middle Eastern cuisine, Lebanon's Cafe, in the Carrollton section of Uptown on the streetcar line, Wednesday through Monday, 11 a.m. to 9:30. Lebanon's Cafe.
For us, it's really relationships. And if you care about the relationship, you're going to do the right thing for the customer all the time. When we're in design process of a custom-made piece, I have a test that says, if I wouldn't give this to my wife, I think we should pass and start over. If it's not perfect, it's going back to the shop. We're going to start all the way over. My name is Ken Friend of Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business.
Ooh, Leidenheimer, that's what I said. Ooh, Leidenheimer, that's French for bread. Leidenheimer.
Since 1896, a true taste of New Orleans. Leidenheimer French bread.
River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NolaAC.com, your cool spot. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NolaAC.com, your cool spot.
Greater New Orleans, a destination for learning. With 13 colleges and universities and a booming job market, Greater New Orleans is the ultimate destination for your higher education. Your path to the future begins in Greater New Orleans. Find out more at studynola.com.
Fausto's Italian Bistro on Vets has daily lunch specials Monday through Friday, and their entire lunch menu is available too. Open 11 a.m. through 2:30 p.m. For the finest in Sicilian and Italian cuisine, Fausto's Italian Bistro on Vets.
1970 was an exciting time in New Orleans. The first Jazz Fest was held, the city hosted its first Super Bowl, and the first Helm Paint location opened on Earhart Boulevard. While the floppy disks, mood rings, and pet rocks may have come and gone since the 70s, Helm Paint has grown to become your premier source for quality Benjamin Moore products, competitive pricing, and personal service. Please visit one of our locations today, and we'll meet our competitors' prices on any identical product. Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore, let us steer you in the right direction.
Helm Paint and Supply.
Young's Dry Cleaning, with 2 walk-up locations with personal service. Young's on Claiborne and Young's on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview. Young's Dry Cleaning. Call 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
When USA Today ranked the 10 best must-visit New Orleans restaurants for travelers, Mid-City's own Katie's made the list. USA Today says Scott Craig is chef-owner at Katie's, a much-loved Creole Italian eatery that draws armies of regulars for lunch, brunch, and dinner. A neighborhood spot where locals congregate and New Orleans-style hospitality rules. Indeed it does. Katie's in Mid-City.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day, by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
Yeah, you right. Crescent City and beyond. Corey Johnson back at you on a wide open Wednesday. 5 o'clock power hour brought to you by Helm Paint and Decorating. 7 locations, East Bank, West Bank, North Shore. Plus, you can go online, pick your Benjamin Moore colors, get all your supplies. 2 free-hour delivery. 2-hour delivery, absolutely free, anywhere in Metro New Orleans. They'll bring it to you. You keep working. They'll steer you in the right direction. For over half a century, Helm Paint and Decorating. 5 o'clock power hour brought to you by Helm Paint and Decorating. On this wide open Wednesday, Humane May fundraiser continues, trying to raise $10,000 for animals. HumaneLA.org to donate. HumaneLA.org to donate. Mother's Day a week from this Sunday. Can you believe that? Jazz Fest weekend number 2. Cranking up tomorrow morning about 11 a.m. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Tomorrow, locals Thursday, $50 a ticket. More stone, might be marble paneling, falling from the Plaza Tower, the old 1001 Howard building. The street closed, one side of Rampart over there, in between Julia and Howard. The mayor today in her weekly Wednesday press conference mentioned potential demolition, but kind of acknowledged that it was a long shot, exploring demolition options. Just don't think that's going to happen, but essentially trying to get Joe Yeager to get moving on this. He has put the building up for sale, developer Joe Yeager. In today's newspaper article, mentioned a handful of people interested, trying to filter through those, find out who's real, who's viable. Is the deal real? Do they have the money? Can they close? On and on and on. A lot of people talk, and then they're trying to work a deal that is something definitely different from what they're talking in the beginning. So we'll see where that goes. But yeah, street closed by the Plaza Tower. Fox 8 report, Lee Zurich, Officer Vappy, a strange reassignment. Basically was with the mayor's security detail, but because of the Fox 8 report, reassigned, but instead of somewhere else with the NOPD, reassigned to the Orleans Parish Communications District, the 911 folks. And then asked about coming and going from that building, time cards, a card to get access to the door, a parking spot, all of that. No idea of what, if any, work Vappy did for the Orleans Parish Communications District, because they say they have no idea if he came or went or worked or not or what he was working on, none of it. But he punched in for 8 hours and 35 minutes a day. 8 hours and 35 minutes each and every day reassigned to the Orleans Parish Communications District, reassigned yet again, reportedly under federal investigation. Officer Vappy, not so happy. Russia blaming Ukraine on a supposed drone attack at the Kremlin and claiming Ukraine responsible for the drone attack that was trying to kill President Putin. And Russia now saying they will retaliate against Ukraine and this drone attack on the Kremlin trying to kill President Putin. Ukraine, Zelensky say it is utterly ridiculous, no truth to it at all. Desperate Russia. Corey Johnson with you on a Wednesday. Hey, if you missed the 4 o'clock hour, Rafael Goyeneche was with us for a good 25 minutes or so, talking about a lot of stuff. The police chief search, violent crime in New Orleans, the DA arrest to conviction ratio, crime trends district by district. Also talked about Officer Vappy, that Fox 8 Lee Zurich investigative piece. That was during the 4 o'clock hour. Wide open Wednesday edition of the program. Every Friday, Michael Hecht from Greater New Orleans Inc. joins us on the program. That segment on Friday is always brought to you by Latrim, the global manufacturing giant that's hiring. It's not like 2 or 3 job openings, like a handful of job openings on their website. It's dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of job openings at Latrim.com. For a full listing of positions available, go to Latrim.com. East Bankers, West Bankers, they're hiring at their Elmwood facility. You North Shore folks, Latrim has you covered at their facility on I-12. For a full listing of positions available, Latrim.com. Yeah, on Fridays, Michael Hecht joins us from Greater New Orleans Inc. That is always brought to you by Latrim. Ruth's Chris Steakhouse, founded in the late 60s. Ruth Fertel, native New Orleanian. I believe she was, I want to say she had an engineering degree, I believe, from LSU. Worked in the medical field, if I'm not mistaken, in the 60s. Saw that Chris Steakhouse on Broad Street was for sale. Saw like the ad in the paper. Mortgaged her house to buy Chris Steakhouse on Broad and went in cutting steaks by hand herself. Got that restaurant working well. Wanted to open a second location, but the deal stipulated that the Chris Steakhouse, there only would be one, and that would be it. So Ruth Fertel opened Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. That's how that name came about, kind of circumventing the original deal. At one time, there were 4 of them in New Orleans. 2 of them just a few blocks away, Broad and Orleans, and that was for the politicians. And then Broad and Bienville across the street and just a few blocks down, a second Ruth's location, like 3 blocks from the other one on Broad. And that was for like the oil and gas, the petroleum industry. You had one on the West Bank. I think it's called Beef Connection now. The Ruth's on Veterans has been there since the 70s. Trying to think of what that steakhouse was originally. It wasn't Ruth's Chris. It was built as a steakhouse. No, it's way back in the 70s. I forget. Anyway, Ruth's Chris, Ruth Fertel starting that legendary steakhouse. It was special, you know. Not trying to be like in the olden days. When I was a kid, things were better. None of that crap. But Popeyes 30 years ago was the best fast food in the history of the industry. And Ruth's Chris Steakhouse 25, 30 years ago was some of the best prime steaks and sides and just, you know, steakhouse as good as it gets. And then it got watered down, and then it had out-of-town board. It went public. Katrina sent it to Orlando. No, Ruth Fertel, today, her steakhouse, she'd kind of be, spinning in her grave. But also, the plus side, 154 of them worldwide now. What an empire she built. And Darden paid the Ruth's Chris Steak Holding Company $715 million, an all-cash deal for the Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. About half of the 154 are corporate-owned, and roughly half are owned by franchisees. Yeah, you right. Corey Johnson with you. A wide open Wednesday edition of the program. Thanks so much for joining us each and every weekday afternoon. We crank things up at 4 p.m. weekdays on the radio, on television, on YouTube, live.